You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your NXT report for Wednesday, December 6, 2017. Before getting going, I gotta mention that after NXT went off the air tonight, an old episode of WWE Countdown came on with most unique matches where they just discussed Viagra on a pole between Shane Douglas and Billy Kidman. I would like to point out that the main event of this match, the main event of this show, the main event of this NXT episode, the quality of it, vastly superior to that of Viagra on a pole. But we'll get into that here in just a minute. First, with the other big news of the night, as announced via email apparently, Enzo Amore will defend the Cruiserweight title in the first 205 Live house show main event in Kingston, Rhode Island on January 19th. And the special guest referee for this historic, one-of-a-kind match is Nia Jax, of all people. Man, oh man, that should be a barn burner. Go out and spend your $15 to watch the first ever 205 Live house show, especially since there's no guarantee there'll be more than these three shows. Anywho, the NXT show this week, which featured no Enzo Amore, no Nia Jax, and no Kalisto, began with Mr. William Regal announcing the method in which we will determine the number one contender for Andrade Cien Almas at NXT Takeover Philadelphia. In the next few weeks, we're going to have 4 singles matches. The winner of those 4 singles matches will have a fatal 4-way match, and the winner of that match will challenge Almas for the NXT Championship in Philadelphia. Tonight's matches, as we'll get into in a minute, are Killian Dane versus Trent Seven and Cassius Ohno versus a mystery opponent. It was supposed to be Velveteen Dream, but apparently he was injured back at TakeOver War Games, and thus we have a mystery opponent. Speaking of the NXT Championship and the NXT Champion, the show kicks off with the championship celebration of the 14th and current NXT Heavyweight Champion of the World, Andrade Cien Almas, along with his business associate, the woman who took him off of the alcohol, off of the partying. Now he can no longer party after the show. He's concentrated fully on wrestling, and now he's your champion. He is Andrade Cien Almas. Almas yelled at us and told us he would be NXT champion, and here he is. He stated that we are NXT, but he is your champion, and he has no respect, none at all, for the former champion, the now injured Drew McIntyre. Zelina Vega told us to respect the man and embrace the legend. And that's it, folks. No one came out and no angle came of this. You might recall that this actually happens after most new NXT champions. They usually kick off the first show of the new set of tapings with some sort of wacky statement. If I recall, there's only a handful of times it didn't happen. The one that I can think of was when Sami Zayn won the title, because they did the angle where Kevin Owens powerbombed him into the ring apron. He was injured, so instead they had Kevin Owens come out and quote unquote read a statement regarding that. Earlier today, Lars Sullivan was being harassed by reporters. He said that Roderick Strong is handsome, and he is not. Roderick talks about his family, but he has no family. In 2 weeks, he will beat Roderick Strong and then go to Philadelphia to become NXT champion, stating that winning the title will show the world that he's the superstar that he always was meant to be. Then we got our first qualifying match. It was Trent Seven of Mustache Mountain who apparently qualified for this mini tournament by winning a battle royal on a house show in Lakeland, Florida, taking on the undefeated Killian Dane, who apparently qualified by being big and scary and never beaten in a match. Seven put up a good effort, but no one in the crowd thought he had a chance of winning here, and they were right. Dane picks up the win with the Vader Bomb, which he's now using instead of the One-Winged Angel. And since Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, why isn't Killian wrestling for the UK title? I do have to admit that I had to do a geography lesson because I wasn't sure if Northern Ireland was part of the United Kingdom or not, and I really wanted to make a joke about how Killian has to wrestle for the European Union title due to Brexit. However, since they are part of the UK, he can be in the UK division, damn it. Undisputed Era was hanging out backstage, and Adam Cole was committing the chief WWE boo-boo and no-no as he cut his promo looking right at the camera. Anyway, Cole said he'll be wrestling Aleister Black next week. He said Black is not on his level, and he will prove it. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly said that in 2 weeks, they will win the tag team titles from Sanity, and they finished up by saying that Undisputed Era rule the system. Then we had a winner and loser leaves town no-holds-barred match as Ruby Riot, with 1T this week, took on Sonya Deville. This, again, is a battle between Raw and SmackDown, Absolution, and the Rioted Squad. And just like last time, when it was purely coincidental, both ladies were in fact wearing the wrong brand colors, as Ruby was rocking the red while Sonya's in blue. This match was not the no-holds-barred match you'd normally expect. You normally expect a lot of plunder, as Dusty Rhodes would call it. This match just featured a lot of submission holds with the inability to break due to ropes. Ruby had her leg worked on the entire match and ignored it just long enough so she could run across the ring and dive through the ropes with a suicide dive. However, Deville ignored that, and as Ruby rolled in, Deville locked in a leg triangle and choked out Ruby. So Sonya Deville wins in her last match. I would have said the same thing if Ruby would have won, because this is, in fact, their last matches in NXT. Ember Moon was meeting with the press backstage and told them that she will be the all-time greatest NXT Women's Champion. In walked Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, who pointed out that Ember pinned Nikki Cross to win the title, and thus Peyton deserves the chance to beat her up. Peyton and Billie both said that they'll face her next week, and so Ember told them to make up their minds over who would face her in the match and bring it on. After Ember left, the iconic duo agreed to let Peyton do it. And then it was announced that in 2 weeks, Pete Dunne will defend the United Kingdom Championship against Tyler Bate in the third battle of these two men. And to prepare for this bout, you all need to go back and watch their match from NXT TakeOver Chicago, which, again, in my opinion, was the WWE Match of the Year. I know there was love for the four-way at SummerSlam and the Cena AJ match at Royal Rumble, and both were excellent. But Dunne Bate, all-time great. Now, as you've heard, there were a lot of matches announced for the next few weeks. So to give you a quick recap of what they are, next week it's Adam Cole versus Aleister Black and Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce. In 2 weeks, it's Sanity versus O'Reilly and Fish for the NXT tag titles, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate for the UK title, and Lars Sullivan versus Roderick Strong. And then at some undetermined point in the future, maybe in 3 weeks, maybe in 4 weeks, it'll be the Fatal 4-Way, and the winner takes on Almas for the championship in Philadelphia. And main event time, as Cassius Ohno was out to face a mystery opponent, and that mystery opponent was Johnny Gargano. Not sure why they bothered with the whole mystery opponent thing. I imagine they could have just said Gargano and not bothered by saying Velveteen Dream was injured, and no one would have thought twice about it. And I should point out that including Dream, 5 out of the 9 participants in this tournament lost their last televised match. Now, in some people's case, like Killian Dane, the last match was War Games, and he was not beaten to lose that match. Roderick Strong was, but of course Roderick Strong is also in this match. Gargano lost, Ohno lost. Wins and losses we've known for years don't really matter, but still. The fans were really into this match. This was, an excellent bout, to be honest. And it's one of those matches that you really should go out of your way to see. And I know that a lot of times with here on NXT TV, there's an excellent match at the tapings. When you watch it, it's kind of, it's all right. But this match, lived up to the hype. It is and was an excellent match, and I recommend you all go out and see it. It was just a hard-hitting bout between 2 top baby faces. Ohno, with the size advantage, played the subtle heel in this. Johnny Wrestling, fighting from underneath, had to kick out of every single move that Ohno had to kick out of every boot, every strike, every elbow, every knee. And Gargano was somehow able to keep kicking out and keep kicking out. Ohno at one point went for his tope over the top rope, but Gargano moved. Ohno landed on his feet, but as he turned around on the floor, Gargano was running off the ropes, shooting outside with a suicide dive that he actually turned in to a tornado DDT. And finally, Ohno went for his rolling elbow, but Gargano super kicked him in the elbow, kicked him down to his knees, locked on the Gargano escape, forced Ohno to tap out, and Johnny Gargano ends his losing streak with a big submission victory here in the main event of NXT this week. So before finishing up, I want to remind everyone that next week, NXT will also be on the USA Network. That is the network, USA Network, that NXT will be on, the USA Network. Now, I don't want to confuse you, so we'll further explain it. NXT used to be on Sci-Fi and WWE.com, but that was 5 years ago. Then in 2014, they moved to the WWE Network. Now, for 1 week only, they're going back to USA Network. You can still watch it on WWE Network, but you can avoid any potential buffering by watching it on USA Network. You are going to get to see Peyton Royce and all the gorgeousness of Peyton on USA Network for 1 week only next Wednesday. It's actually going to be at 7 on USA and then 8 on the WWE Network. But until next week on the USA Network, watch Gargano versus Ohno, then join us on USA Network. And I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.